Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name's John Tendy. I recently performed at a New York City jazz club, and we knew in advance that it was going to be a very busy house. So we decided to multi-track the night and to bring in 4 or 5 cameras and videotape to use for promotional purposes. It wasn't until about 3 hours before the performance that I found out the audio engineer was not going to come. Now, normally this would not be a problem. I've engineered shows before. What made this a problem was because it was the first night I was going to use a PRESONUS RM16. I had never used it before. I hadn't even opened the box yet, and I specifically hired this person because he was familiar with the unit. Now, the PRESONUS RM16 can be controlled on stage via an iPad. I just hadn't set it up yet. So I got about 3 hours to set the whole thing up. It actually worked out quite well. Now, full setup with iPad, etc. will be covered in a future review, but basically, setup was very simple. It's straight ahead. There are 16 XLRs on the front, of which I needed 10. The input LEDs can also be switched to let you know which mics are using phantom power. The headphone connection on the front allows you to monitor a Q mix or the main output. Stereo main output on the front, and there's also a mute all button. And to use it with an iPad, you're going to need a Wi-Fi connection. Now, many clubs, probably most clubs, have Wi-Fi, but I wouldn't rely on it. Bring your own router. They're not expensive. In fact, I found this one laying around in a box of junk in my basement. I don't even know how old it is. I'm not recommending this router. I'm just saying it worked for me. The other complication was we had to turn around final edited product in about 2 days. It was Christmas week and we had performed Christmas music, so we had to have it edited and up on the YouTube channel as soon as possible for promotional purposes. So in this video, part 1 of 2 parts, I'm going to take you to the club, run you through basic setup, which will include microphone placement, and at the end, I'll have a short video clip of final edited product. Stick around. All right, we're here at Showman's. We're about to record the night. The only problem is the sound man did not show up. We don't have anybody on sound. It's not a problem. I hope we're going to run things on the RM16 via iPad. So hopefully there won't be too many shots of me making adjustments. The place is pretty crowded. It's going to be a great night. Come on in. Okay, so let's take a look at the drums first. Let's put at the drums first. The first thing we did is we got to understand this is a live recording, and we're also doing it with picture. We don't have to be too crazy about where we're going to place them, especially when it comes to overheads. There's only one overhead. You don't need a stereo image on the overhead. There's 5 mics on the drums. The left and right tom will give you that impression. If we mix in a little camera mic, a little to the left and a little to the right, that'll give you enough with the stereo image. Let's take a look. We've got 5 mics on the drums. We have a kick, a snare, 2 toms, 1 overhead. The B3 on our Leslie, we have the bottom, of course, on the top. And even though people usually don't do this, they say it's not organy, I put one on the other side as well. We're going to have a stereo image on top, a mono image on the bottom. That's okay. For the saxes, we're just going to use 2 clip-ons. These are these short thingies. You got to understand, it's a tight fit here. The less mic stands you use, the better off it is for everybody. Plus RM16, we're printing to capture. And it's an easy setup. This is a boomy area. You got a hard wall, and you got a brick wall, and you got mirrors. It's gonna be noisy. It's okay. If you're gonna get really anal about how it's gonna sound, you shouldn't have come to this club in the first place. The other thing to remember, and this is the most important thing, when you're printing, when you're multi-tracking live, try not to be so careful about using up all your headroom. You want to give yourselves 5 or 6 dB, even more of headroom, because during the sound check and during the first tune, the drummer's going to be hitting his drums, but 10 minutes in, he's going to hit them a lot harder, I guarantee it. And then in the middle of the set, suddenly everything is overdriving. So give yourself 6 decibels, 7, even more of headroom, and you can adjust. That first tune, it's better to have a lower signal than a signal that's too high. Let's see how it goes. So when all is said and done, I would have to say the RM16 performed like a champ. It was great, it sounded great, setup was easy, and the only distracting part was, for me, for the first 10 minutes or so, worrying about the iPad, looking at it in the corner of my eye. I did get used to it, and I know next time it's not going to be a problem if I remember to not eat up all my headroom. I don't want to overdrive anything in that first 10 minutes because I'm not hands-on. I'm playing saxophone, so I can't reach for the iPad and make immediate adjustments. And sometimes you're going to find that a little too late. So remember that if you're self-producing in a live situation, allow yourself some headroom. And I would also like to say formally to PRESONUS, I'm not sending the unit back. I'll send you guys a check instead. I think it's fantastic, and I'm going to spend a good month with it, and when I get very familiar with it, I'll do a full review. And check out part 2 of this video. It goes over how to do a quick mix, 7 to 10 minutes, when you're on a very, very tight timeline. Thanks for watching.